What are the 7 questions to ask when picking an immigration lawyer? Hi, I'm Jim Hacking, immigration lawyer practicing law throughout the United States out of our offices in St. Louis, San Diego, and Washington, D.C. Boy, had a great weekend. We got to go see Yadier Molina and Albert Pujols retire. They had their last home games yesterday, and we had a total blast watching those games. I will be creating some more content around that, specifically about Albert, one of my favorite immigrants indeed. But in today's video, we're going to talk about these 7 questions that you should ask when thinking about hiring an immigration lawyer. So you don't necessarily need to hire the very first lawyer that you speak to. You should probably talk to several different ones. And if you're anything like Goldilocks, you'll find some that are out of whack and some that are just right. And you want to find the immigration lawyer that's just right for you. We had someone on the Immigration Answer Show ask us, Jim, what are the questions that we should be asking when we are interviewing immigration lawyers to work for us? And that's really how I want you to think about it, that you're the one doing the hiring. This is almost like you're hiring an employee for your business. You have an immigration lawyer who's going to work for you. You're going to pay them most likely a lot of money, and you want to make the best decision possible. So I sat down with my thinking cap, and I came up with the 7 questions that I think you should ask when you talk to a potential immigration lawyer. Here we go. So the first question you need to ask is, how long have you been practicing immigration law? How long have you been practicing immigration law? This is a really important question. You want to make sure that you're dealing with someone who does immigration law exclusively and that that's all that they do. Now, when we first started out, if someone had asked me that question, a lot of people wouldn't have hired me. But now that we're 13, 15 years into working with immigrants and handling exclusively immigration, I think our focus and our attention and our knowledge base has just grown exponentially. You know, when you're dealing with someone who deals with one topic every day, it's much easier to see how their expertise manifests itself, how it comes forward, how they have seen situations before. So if you're dealing with someone who handles lots of different kinds of law, say car accidents and wills and estates, and we do immigration, that's a real problem. So you want to make sure that they focus on immigration, and you want to know how long have they focused on it. The fact of the matter is, someone with 2 years of experience is not going to be, for the most part, as good of an immigration lawyer as someone with 20. It's just sort of the way things work. And so the first question you want to ask someone is, how long have you been practicing immigration law, and what part of your practice is it? All right, question number 2. How long have you been a member of AILA? How long have you been a member of AILA? AILA is the American Immigration Lawyers Association, and in my book, it's the best organization going for qualified immigration lawyers. That if an immigration lawyer is not a member of AILA, to me, that's a head scratcher. Now, I do have some friends who, for political reasons, have quit AILA because they got mad about some policy that AILA had. But I'm not really talking about those people. Those are people with experience. I'm talking about people who don't care enough about their area of expertise, who don't care enough about the practice area that they claim expertise in, to join the American Immigration Lawyers Association. Now, AILA is a fantastic organization. I learned so much by being a member of AILA, and to me, it's almost like a seal of approval that you should try to see if the immigration lawyer that you're interviewing with is a member of AILA, and you want to make sure that they are, because that means they're going to conferences. They're staying up on the latest developments in the law. We get an email every single day, 365, every day of the year, from AILA with the updates in immigration law. And to me, it's a real shorthand way of finding who the right immigration lawyer is for you. Question number 3, how many cases like mine have you handled? How many cases like mine have you handled? I think this is a really good question. And obviously, most immigration lawyers handle lots of different kinds of cases. Our office doesn't handle much removal anymore. We're not taking any more removal or deportation cases, and I think that's a good thing. Believe it or not, there are immigration lawyers who specialize in certain kinds of immigration cases. So even within the niche of immigration law, there's a sub-niche of different kinds of cases, and you want to make sure that the attorney that you're handling has handled the case that you have before. You want them to have learned on other people's dimes. You want them to have made mistakes or learned lessons in handling similar kinds of cases. So you want to be very clear on what kind of case that you have. So let's say you're doing a spouse overseas visa case. Okay. A great question would be, how many spouse overseas visa cases have you handled before? Same with citizenship. How many citizenship cases have you had before? How many asylum cases have you had before? How many asylum cases from Saudi Arabia have you had? How many asylum cases from Singapore have you had? You never know how deep you can go in asking the questions. You want to be detailed. You want to see, has this person worked with people like me before? Has this person handled cases like mine before? Because that's going to give you a great insight into their ability to do it again. Not to say that people can't learn new areas of the law or try out a new case type. That's for sure. We've done that. Actually, that's how we started. At the very beginning, we hadn't handled any. So now that we've handled a bunch of each case type, we feel very comfortable in saying, these are the cases that we're really good at. These are the cases for us. These ones over here, maybe not for us. And we're not your deportation lawyer. We don't want to be your deportation lawyer. And so a really good question to ask is, how many of my case types have you handled? Question number 4, can you tell me the breakdown of case types that your firm handles? Now, this sort of goes on top of the question we just asked, and that is, what is your bread and butter, Mr. or Mrs. Immigration Lawyer? What kind of cases do you handle often? What are the most frequent kinds of cases that come through your office? So for us, I know that stuff right off the top of my head. The biggest case type that we have at Hacking Immigration Law are lawsuits. Right after that are spouse cases, either where the spouse is overseas or the fiancé is overseas or the spouse is here in the United States. After that, citizenship. After that, asylum. So you want to find out what's the percentage breakdown of cases. You want to see how regularly is this law firm handling this type of case. So you want to make sure that you understand that they handle this type of case often and frequently, and that they get a good result for their clients. Number 5, what is your favorite case type? What is your favorite case type? Now, I think this is a great question. It's a question that you might not necessarily think of, but if you can tap into the passion of the immigration lawyer that is being interviewed by you, you're really going to be able to figure out, is this the right attorney for me? So for me, Jim, as an individual, my favorite case type are lawsuits. I love to help immigrants who've been stuck in immigration hell for months or years get their case moving. So I love to go into federal court, sue them, and get movement on their cases. Other people in our office love to handle citizenship cases. We have people like my wife, Amani, loves to handle asylum cases. Now, when you're dealing with an immigration firm with 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 lawyers, different lawyers within the firm develop an expertise, and you want to make sure that you're working with the attorneys in the office who handle your case type and love working on those cases. I think you can't get past passion. Nothing is as important as passion when it comes to the particular case type. So you want to make sure, what is your favorite case type? It's probably a question that the attorney might not necessarily think of all that often, but it'll be very revealing when you hear their answer. So make sure to ask the person that you're interviewing, what's your favorite case type? What's your firm's favorite case types? So that you make sure that you get assigned to the best attorney possible. Question number 6, what type of support do you have? What type of support do you have? Now, here's the thing. When you hire an immigration law firm, you're hiring a team. And you want to know, how experienced is the team? How busy is the team? How overworked is the team? Immigration is a volume practice. People that practice immigration law have lots and lots of cases. You want to make sure that the attorney is signing up your case and that they have a team that can help with the case. You want to make sure that there are qualified paralegals or admins who can support the lawyer to make your case as strong as possible. You want to see, is this firm overworked? Am I going to be just one more case in the cog? Am I just going to be one piece of the machine? Am I just going to be a number? Or does the attorney and their support staff have enough bandwidth to take me on as a new client? You don't want to get lost in the shuffle. You don't want to get lost with other immigration clients. You want to make sure that your case is getting the focus it deserves. And you do that by trying to find out, how experienced is the team? What's the team makeup? Who am I going to be working with? What will that look like? How does the process work? And how does it separate out between the attorney and the paralegals or the support staff as to who does what? These are all really important parts of the puzzle. Question number 7 is my favorite one of all. Why have cases like mine that your office has handled been denied? Why have cases like mine that your office handled been denied? Now, this is a very good question, and it's a good question for a lot of reasons. Now, one thing is, a lot of immigration lawyers won't want to tell you about cases they've been handling that got denied. And the reason for that, I think, is that they're worried that if they say that they've had cases that were denied or cases that didn't go the way the client wanted, that you're not going to hire them. Well, here's the deal. I love to tell people about cases that we have had denied. I love to be as transparent as possible. We're trying to educate our clients before they hire us so that they know how hard what they're trying to obtain actually is. We want them sitting next to us by our side and to be on the same side as we go through this process together. We want you to understand the odds and the difficulties against you. So happy to discuss prior citizenship cases that got denied or prior green card cases that got denied. It's really an important piece of the analysis that if the attorney is comfortable in their own skin and if the attorney is humble enough to be able to talk about losses that they've had or cases that didn't go their way. And it's also going to help you see how serious this is and how important this is and why working with an immigration lawyer is important. So don't forget to ask that one. Why have cases like mine that your office had, what are some of the reasons that there have been denials in the past? Because that's really going to help you motivate yourself to file the strongest case possible and try to avoid some of those pitfalls. Another reason why it's a great question is because it reveals the level of experience of the attorney. It's going to show, well, yeah, I've had 300 of these cases and 10 of them got denied. And here's the reason those 10 got denied. These are all great questions to ask the immigration lawyer when you're interviewing them to be your immigration lawyer. If you want to hire an immigration lawyer and you want to give us a call, that number, 314-961-8200. You can email us info@hackingimmigrationlaw.com. Don't forget our Immigrant Home Facebook group. We'd love to have you join and find out all the ways that we explain immigration process and that we connect immigrants to each other and to resources. That's a great resource, the Immigrant Home Facebook group. And then, of course, we have our YouTube channel where we're updating videos a couple times a week, just like this one, and where we do our Immigration Answers show 3 or 4 times a week. So those are all some great resources. If you're thinking about working with an immigration lawyer and you want to hire us or you want to interview us, give us a call. Like I said, 314-961-8200. Thanks a lot and have a great day.